it's funny when you add a little bit of money to a sport and you give some girls attention, what they can do with it. I think everyone should take a page out of our book and really put some more time and effort into women's everything.
Welcome to Breaking the Glass Hockey Podcast. We're talking women's hockey from the PWHL to the NCAA. We will be talking with players, builders, coaches, and fans who have made this great game what it is today. Educate, empower, elevate. Let's go!
Welcome back. Episode number 11. We've reached double digits, and this time Linda is here for double digits. So we got me and Linda tonight. No Kelly.
No Kelly, due to technical difficulties, maybe.
Due to, what are we, Gen X, right? Yeah.
I never know.
I think we're Gen X. Due to Gen X and technology is why Kelly's not here.
She said it said not allowed in the studio. So something, the universe was sending her a sign that it was my turn.
All right. So yeah, we're here. We're strictly PWHL finals. A few days late, but we're just letting the smoke clear. We were hoping for some good stories. I was hoping for some surprise guests, but of course none of that panned out. But here we are anyways. But let's start with mea culpas. Do you want to talk about your clothing brand?
You want to bring this up, and all right. So
you might as well tell the story. I don't know if
hanging around. Well, it's my Czech clothing brand, right, from work. Right. So the Czech. So anybody listening to this, if you're listening and you know where this is on social media, because I'm social media inept, and that's not lending well to this podcast either. But the Czech women's hockey team, and I've texted with Denitsa. And she told me I could order it to her house. And I told this story on the podcast because it was a cool saying on the front. I mean, I'm a terrible storyteller because I don't even know what it said on the front, but I know I liked it. So
was the front in Czech or was it in English?
No, it was in English. And I can't find it. I can't, no matter what. They wore it in walk-ins, multiple team members. They wore it a couple times. They had some jackets that said it on the back. Shirts that said it on the front. I mean, I know I'm just burying the lead here with all this, but if anybody knows the Czech clothing brand that was worn by the Czech women's national team during walk-ins, or maybe I'll just follow up with Denitsa after this, but I think she's a little busy being a champion right now. So, so I don't know the brand, so my mea culpa stands, but my I guess my rebuttal to it is that I have another clothing company that I do know the brand. It's called Royalty Fam. And if you want PWHL gear, I think they started out last year as a carrier of the gear. Now I'm seeing that they're a little overstocked. But Brownie, you were just telling me that you wanted to get your daughter some Frost gear, and
I've been instructed.
I don't know if they'll carry the new stuff with the trophy and all of that, but everything I've ordered from there has been phenomenal. Long sleeve shirts, really quality short sleeve Frost shirt. I just got a Fleet sweatshirt. It's got a little diamond on the side.
Royalty Fam is the name of the company.
RoyaltyFam.com is the name.
No free ads, but I mean, I think they should be a sponsor based
on
this.
RoyaltyFam.com. When I look them up, they now say PWHL official overstock. So then you get discounted prices. But hey, I even grabbed myself a New York shirt because I live in New York, and I thought, why not represent, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but during the playoffs, I was on there looking for an Ottawa shirt. I was like, I got to get one and pay $25 to have it delivered tomorrow, so I can wear it. This is the silly things I do. More to come on the Czech clothing company, but order from Royalty Fam. We'll tag them in our
thing. Are you were you pulling for Ottawa? Because of Carla, right?
I know. I mean, I know Carla from past hockey camps and things like that. We did Team Japan together for a few camps and things like that. But just always followed her. Just such an impressive resume in her coaching career.
Yeah.
And
player too.
And player. I mean, but it's just really cool what she's done with the coaching. And I know she's really close with Jackie Friesen. Yep. So, but it was a tough one. I mean, I'm pumped for the Huskies that are on Minnesota. I'm pumped for Minnesota to win at home and to repeat. it all just screams goodness, but I was pulling for Ottawa to, win that game and take it back home. But I don't know if there's anybody that lost other than directly Ottawa, the contingency.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I mean, overall, it's a win for the league, right? And for women's hockey, for sure.
Yeah.
My daughter was fully on board with the Frost. When I was like, oh, but look how good Gwyneth's playing, she gave me 2 thumbs down. I was like, oh, sorry, Gwyneth. But yeah, it was fun series. The engagement, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think you're a little more Husky heavy than I am, actually.
What do you mean?
I guess that would make sense from the perspective of just the other people I cross paths with and know, but I'm trying to always push us away from the Huskies so that everybody
I know.
doesn't think we're too Husky heavy.
But I will say and we're gonna try to. I'm personally gonna try to be more even balanced. Look, I'm wearing a Dartmouth hockey hat right now.
There you go. More curl. We'll have you on. More curl.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be more evenly balanced, but I will always have a soft spot for the Huskies. They've always been so good to me with the morning skate and how the access and everything, and that will continue. But there will be other teams involved as well. I think that's the fairest way to say it.
It's your first love.
Yeah,
Your first women's hockey love.
yeah, absolutely. Even though it started with club and my family friend Trisha, won a national championship. We'll get her on here at some point. And then the last mea culpa, I could not, for the life of me. I mean, I've never tried to pass myself off as a smart person, but the irresistible force paradox, I could not figure this out and how to say it to save my life. And Kelly was just looking at me and just like watching me drown. It's when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. I had like 4 people that I play hockey with reach out to me. They're like, "You're an idiot." So there it is.
That came up in the last podcast?
Yeah, I don't remember the context. Oh, I think it was talking about the Minnesota scoring versus Ottawa's defense and goaltending. And I'm like, something has to give. It's like when something hard meets something fat. Like it was horrible. It was horrible. Kelly was very nice. You would have savaged me, to be completely fair. But before we get to the finals, a couple of tidbits. There's 2 new GMs. Seattle, Megan Turner, former assistant GM with the Boston Fleet, and she played at Quinnipiac. And then Vancouver, Kara Gardner-Murray, the head coach of Princeton, along with coaching Canadian U18, and she's a 2-sport athlete at Princeton, hockey and field hockey. Do you know either of them?
I don't know Megan really. I know Kara.
Okay.
I was really excited about that, to see that. What a move. I mean,
good for her.
I know she's got a young family and they're pretty established there down in the Princeton area. And I mean, I don't talk to her on a regular basis, but I hope to. I mean, this is just talking about this move would be just a cool topic. I mean, kudos to Quinnipiac grads. They're really stepping it up in the professional hockey world, and I was looking at Megan Turner's bio because I don't really know that much about her. And one thing I was really reading that I love, and I love, and I kind of want to branch out on this podcast at some point when we get like my stick, my story going. It talked about her career, 4 years at Quinnipiac before continuing career in CWHL, later PWHPA. And it then said, off the ice, she built a successful career consulting career, holy moly, with PricewaterhouseCoopers, managing complex projects and advising Fortune 500 companies on operations, strategy, and organizational change. Bring it on, breaking the glass. Like,
that's cool, and
that is exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
I did not understand any of that.
So she worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? Which is advising Fortune 500 companies on operational strategy. Company? What's that?
Is Pricewaterhouse, are they an accounting company?
Yeah, they're like, don't make me look that up. Now we're gonna have to mea culpa that next time. But they're a consulting company, and that's just unbelievable. Like, talk about a pivot. Hey, This is what I can do with my skills, and this is what I can do with my
Yeah.
skills. Which one will I do? All these things I learned from being a, college athlete, multiple sport, probably, all the things you go through and the tools it puts in your toolbox.
Yep.
I was most impressed with that when I read the bio.
So I'm really pissed that I'm gonna have to play this sound effect for myself and not for Kelly. But when I interviewed both Cassie Turner and Danielle Marmer, here it comes. That's me dropping names.
And now Megan Turner we'll have to have on. Maybe we can
Oh,
have
yeah.
Megan and Marmer on together.
Oh my gosh! But when I don't know if they can. So when I talked to both them, both Cassie and Danielle, both spoke very highly of Megan. I don't remember if it was while we were recording or after, but they both spoke very highly of her. Seems like she really knows what she's doing. I'm sure she was very instrumental with. I mean, assistant GM's in on every move, right? So she was part of the team that traded their former teammate. I mean, Danielle and when they traded Cheyenne Darkangelo, who was a former teammate of theirs,
Yeah.
which has got to be brutal. And I believe that Kara Gardner Mori, I believe I've met her husband. He was a former NFLer, and I believe I met him down in Duxbury Beach when I was buckled. And he's not a big guy; he's fast as hell, though. And I was like, you don't think I could beat you in a race? And he was like, no.
Not
He's
your
a
finer moments.
good guy. He was a good guy because we were all like chirping him. I'm not a Patriots fan, so we were all giving him a hard time. Really good dude. So yeah, good for both of them. And
Yeah,
so
so great.
we talked briefly, and we'll get into this more as the draft comes because I have gotten hold of the list. I put it all in Excel, so we'll be able to talk about that as we comes. But we had talked to Kelly and I last episode a little bit about the strategy involved and a couple of things that have stood out to me. One, I saw a report, I think it was the Hockey News, that they were saying it makes sense for Hillary Knight to go to Seattle because she grew up, I think, Idaho, right? So she's western half of the country. And wouldn't that be something to be the face of another franchise? And that kind of, and I'm not saying, I'm not giving an opinion on
Yeah.
this. These are things I've heard. If she did that, it would make significantly easier people to protect for Boston. So that was one thing of it
Yeah.
because they're not going to, it's who's going to be Hillary Knight, Megan Keller, and Aaron Frankel. So Alina Mueller is out there, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure they go and ask Hillary Knight, like, hey, would you want to
Well,
go?
they can protect a fourth after two are gone.
Right. But one of those, right. So who's the two?
Right.
See what I'm saying? And then the other thing that I saw with Kara Gardner Mori as the former Princeton coach, Claire Thompson for Minnesota might be going to Vancouver because I don't know who they're going to protect, and I don't think she's going to be one of the three that she.
Well, there's no doubt about it that let's not forget that. If teams lose, look at what the Frost's third and fourth line did for them.
Oh yeah,
right. So you can measure Kendall Coyne, Hillary Knight, Alina Mueller, Poulin. And I don't even know what's so amazing about this league right now is that it's so deep that it's a risk for everyone.
Oh yeah.
But there is a salary cap.
Yep.
So you can't just go out and get a bunch of first and second liners and think that it's going to work. It's not going to work.
It's a hard cap, right? Also.
Yeah. So there is a salary cap that they have to consider. The Hillary Knight thing, I don't know. She loves Boston.
Yeah. No, I'm not, like I said, I had no skin in this game in terms of what I think will happen or what I hope will happen. It was just an interesting point. And I was like, well, that is a lot closer to where she grew up than here.
And do the teams have conversations before about this?
There's
to see how close someone is to wanting to stay? Because I know when they originally had, I think the first draft, I mean, it's based on what both I remember the leadership of the league talking about, and maybe it was even a team general manager talking about, well, of course we're gonna vet this, and of course there's
Yeah.
interviews. Like if somebody doesn't want to be here,
Right.
like this isn't where they want to be, then why do we want to use a draft pick on that? I mean,
And I assume that's the window.
Montreal picked Kessel last year, and she never played.
Right. I assume that's the window. That's the exclusive window. Like they would reach out to a Hillary Knight or an Alina Mueller if you're Seattle or Vancouver and be like, hey, you're not protected. Would you want to come here? But then that's another strategy. Like, can you as a GM go to, I don't want to use anyone in particular, but as a GM, can you go to player X and be like, hey, what are you thinking? I am not going to Seattle or Vancouver. Great. Then we're not going to protect you because if they draft you, you don't have to go. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if they can do that because that feels like it's collusion a little bit,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, listen, like we were talking offline about content over the next like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna have any problems.
I know. So the draft is when the expansion starts.
If you have the tab open for the podcast,
June 4th to the 9th, right?
they're all in from last week's podcast in the tab there.
I'm going to be coming back from Boston on the 4th. I'm going to be just watching that. It's like edge of your seats. It's almost like a game.
Well, and there's players, and we can talk more about this next week, but there's players that haven't played in a number of years that have entered the draft. Like,
yeah. I mean, Michelle Karvinen, for one, Finland.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. She's going to help any team. And
I thought it was funny that Montreal, it wasn't an official Montreal statement, but it was a Montreal reporter was like, breaking news. Poulin is going to be one of the protected players. Like, oh, really? Way to go out on a limb there.
Did they announce that?
No, it was just like, I've heard.
Will we get an announcement about that, or will they make that public, or will those people just not go? Okay.
No, it'll be made public ahead of the first date there. You have to submit your first 3. And it might be that you have to submit your first 3 and then your next
submit it, but does the public get the first 3?
I would assume once it's made available to the other teams, it would be public. Because I will say this about the PWHL, they're pretty good. Like I get and not to brag, but I get the media emails, right? Because I'm a credentialed journalist with a heavy finger quote. By the way, my daughter has figured out this and she uses it correctly, and it cracks me up every time. She's like, "That was really funny, Dad," and it just kills me every time she does it. But typically with news from the PWHL, it'll come to the media, and then another email, like within usually like 36 hours, will follow up with that same information out to the general public. Yeah. So I'd imagine it would be out. They've been pretty transparent with everything they're doing. And, it's working out for them. The other question I have is now next year with 8 teams, are they going to have all 8 teams make the playoffs? Are they going to have 2 teams with buys? How are they going to do it? I don't know. I would like to see.
I'm not a fan of participation prizes and everybody making the playoffs.
No, I understand that. Well, then you could do the top 6 and the top 2 teams get the buys and then the bottom 2, right? You could do it that way.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, well, let's get to the finals. For those that don't know, Minnesota won 3-1 in the series. Every single game was a 2-1 game, and every single game went to a minimum of 1 overtime, that just shows you how tight these teams are in terms of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, I sent you pictures in the group chat. I had the PW game on my laptop, and then I had the NHL on the TV because you were able to get on your TV, right? Or was that Kelly?
No, we do it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. You just have YouTube
on our TV. Gotcha. But we had friends in town from Boston, and that was a big time commitment on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a very big time commitment, and we put a lot of things aside that we were going to do to get back and watch the game, and then just stayed, trying to wait it out. But we had we had little hockey players with us. We had our little friend Rowan LaMontagne and her sister
Nice.
Simi, and so it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I like that stood out to me, one of the things, was the contributions from not where you would think,
Yeah.
right? In
Mhm.
both teams. I mean, Kendall Coyne Schofield, Taylor Heisey, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't usual
Yeah.
suspects. And I think that speaks to that happens in the NHL too. It's not the superstars 'cause everybody locks them down.
Yeah, but I do think what happens there is, those other lines are wearing them down,
Yeah.
and then, it opens up the opportunity for some fatigue or just some momentum. Third or fourth line hops on the ice and they pick up right where they should. Um, so yeah, I mean, it worked. It worked that way for both teams at different times, but obviously Minnesota got the best of that.
As a coach, did you play the matchup with the lines?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, you have to, but I mean, at some point, a little bit of it's out of your control, and everybody needs to know, you know, what the game plan is. It's more about the game plan than it is about. It's definitely about line matching and trying to get people good matchups on the ice, but that it's too fast moving. You just got to know the game plan and you got to stick to your game plan. I think I heard actually Carla McLeod say it, our game plan is our game plan. We stick to
Yeah.
it. There's a lot of, this is playoff hockey. There's a lot, everybody's going to be at their best. So our game plan needs to be solid and a commitment from the team, every player, whether you're first line, fourth line, that's what brings them success.
I did like the signs that said "We believe in Carla" or something.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw those. Those are great. Um, First game, I'm not going to go through everything, but just the game-winning goal was Emily Clark. That was the only game Ottawa won. Game 2, the game winner was Britta Curl. I don't know how you say. Is it Salem?
Salemi.
Salemi.
The
She was a
Clark
beast.
goal was probably one of the softer goals of the tournament. Just not expected. It was short side. I
Well,
don't know. Like she was bombing down
yeah,
the left side, and snuck it in there. But I think it was probably just one of the more controllables for the goalies.
I will say that first off, that was Hensley. That was the only game that Hensley played for many. They also, if you rewind that sequence, the forward didn't cover the point when one of the Ottawa defenders dropped, and she had that run from her own blue line with no one
Yeah,
with. Yeah, she had plenty of time to think about what she was going to do on the way in.
too many wheels to,
Game 3, that was a triple overtime. Katie Knoll with the game winner. And then the clincher, the overtime goal was Liz Shepard's. So that's that fourth line for Minnesota. Got the two winners in the final two games. That I think they call it the blue line because he assigns them colors, which I like that.
yeah, it's an easy way to do it. Shepard's hometown hero,
Yep.
Knoll. I hope Knoll has like that puck imprint right on her chest from where it hit her leg,
Yeah.
like a tattoo forever. Yeah, awesome. So great. Great attendance too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
The final was over 11,000, and that was a 4 o'clock puck drop Minnesota time on Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, right.
So that's awesome, right?
Yeah. I mean, for anybody who has kids, thank God for Memorial Day weekend when these were on. That was good timing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
No school,
Yeah.
long weekend, that kind of stuff.
So the finals had a 12% increase in attendance from last season, which I think is a little bit due to the bigger venues also. I mean, the XL Center is just a whole different beast than Song,
Mm-hmm.
With all the overtimes, these are just little things I found, right? With all the overtimes, the teams combined to play an extra 81 minutes of hockey in the series. So you wanted your 7-game series. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
And then the bright spot for Ottawa, which I'm sure I know based on her comments, she doesn't give a shit about right now. Gwyneth Phillips won the Ilana Kloss playoff MVP. She's the first player from the losing team to win the award, the second straight rookie and the first goaltender to win that. Taylor Heisey won it last year. For the playoffs, she went with a 1.23 goals against and a 952 save percentage, which is just ridiculous. I mean,
You know what's crazy is that, I don't think you're thinking about the expansion draft when you're back when Mashmeyer got hurt or whatever, but she's put them in a little bit of a predicament for what to do, It's
for
almost
sure.
like so.
Well, that's the question. That's Kelly and I got into a little bit. Do you protect two goalies?
No way.
Right.
No way.
So then, and that's not kind of the goalies that are coming in the draft also. So, it's nuts. And then the last thing for Gwyneth, a couple things. She won 4 playoff games with 1 shutout. She did not lose in regulation. And this was a great thing. The entire Charge team, I don't know how long you lasted watching, but the entire team stayed out there until she got her award, because I think everybody knew she was getting it, and then they left the ice, which was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that. Yep. I like to stay after and watch the podcast with Jocks and Jills too.
Oh, okay.
Yep. On live after, and they bring everybody in because they were at the rink, but they had been doing live right after, and they were bringing like Becky Keller in and some of the team members in, so it was really really fun.
Nice. And then there was some stuff that was going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, which I just think it's so cool that, and I don't mean so much for Kendall Coyne, right? But for Katie Knoll or Liz Sheppers or Zumwinkle or Curl, just they're not the players that you would think. You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool because it's the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's not the NHL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So Kendall Coyne Schofield's jersey, Katie Knoll's helmet, Shepard's stick that scored the series-winning goal, Salemi's gloves, and Grace Zumwinkle's skates, along with the hats and towels. So I'm going up to Toronto in June. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Hall of Fame, but if I do, this will be why. Just to kind of see that stuff. It'll be neat. Lee Stecklin became the first defender in PW history to lead the playoff with scoring.
He was on a tear.
Well, I think that was, besides like the depth of Minnesota, the fact that they got this scoring from the back end, I think is a huge part of their championship.
She was making it look easy.
Oh, she's so silky. So the D combined for 26 points, Jakes, Thompson, and Channel Watkins, along with Stecklin. I mean, that's just a powerhouse. So again, talk about the draft. So there's your top 4, right? Who do you, no matter what you do, you're losing a huge piece.
Right.
It's great. Like I saw a headline, or maybe it was on social media. They were like, the PWHL expansion draft is going to tear the teams apart. And I was like, you're right. I mean, it's hyperbole, but it's true.
Well, this is business, the business of sport, right? Like we wanted it to be big time.
It is, yeah.
It is.
Yep. Maddie Rooney went undefeated with a 5-0 record in the playoffs, and that was that cool viral video where they were getting interviewed, and they were like, death, taxes, and who's starting or something. One of them said after the game, who Ken Klee is starting. And the Frost had an event yesterday. It sounded like fans met the players at the XL Energy Center to meet the players. There was like a DJ and all this kind of stuff. But from what I saw on social media, it looked like they went to the practice rink and then walked over with the players, like all the fans, which is kind of cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't see that, but.
And then we referenced it earlier, the blue line of Katie Knoll, Liz Sheppers, and Clara Himlarova combined for.
No, you did it. You did it.
Combined for, I make fun of Ked all the time when he stumbles through names, and now I have to do it. They combined for 13 points in the playoffs, and all season they only combined for 10. I love when that stuff happens. You just like catch lightning in a bottle,
Yeah.
I mean, That's the people's champ right there, kind of stuff. And yeah, so I mean, 2-time champs. The Walter Cup has never been anywhere but Minnesota. And yeah, I saw Kendall Coyne had a picture of how it started, how it's going with her son.
Yeah.
Because but was on the ice with her for.
Yeah, I saw that. He looked
That was cool.
huge too. I was like, oh my God, he's so big.
Yeah. My only complaint about this, and I know you don't want to copy the NHL, but I thought it would be. I don't know how you could have done it without making it to copy the NHL, because I wish they did the names.
What do you mean?
The names on the trophy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like a surface area issue, right? Then you're just like, that's,
Right.
but
It's a really cool trophy, and I touched it with one finger last year on the ice, and the guy was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." Just want to say I touched it.
it's cool. I just want, maybe this is moving into do better, and maybe this is my media tech, just lack thereof any skills, but I like the YouTube and the PW on YouTube, but I can't figure out how to start the game from the start if it's halfway through the game, right? And I want to go in and turn it on. It turns on live.
But isn't there a thing that says watch live or
No.
watch from beginning?
No, not like on my Fubo or ESPN. Like I can go watch from the beginning. Not that I can tell. And maybe again, I'm just a complete idiot.
Or can you drag the thing back? Maybe I don't know.
I turn it on.
Yeah.
This is how silly I am. But I had to keep telling my guests, so we're all going to watch the game. Don't look. I turn the volume down.
Yeah.
We turn it on. We look away from the TV. We press rewind. Make sure the bar is moving all the way back to the beginning. And then, I mean, that's not a big deal, but just ease of use. I don't know. I mean,
I have a feeling this is a generational thing. Like you and I aren't going to
come on. I'm not that bad.
You are. I feel like the players, if any of the players listen to this, they're going to be like, "Oh my God!"
Probably like, "What the hell is your problem?"
I will say though, I think it's awesome that they put these on YouTube, and I'm a little annoyed that like Nesson shows the fleet like around here all season.
Well, it doesn't, but it also doesn't stay on there. Like I think they drop off after a certain amount of time, so you can't.
Yes, so all these overtimes would have been dropped, right?
And again, we don't know the business. We don't know what the market is. We don't know what it's building up to. I mean, I hope it, some of it's been on MSG networks, and I know it's all local based, but just like something a little bit more user friendly. And I know that song by heart. Add in progress.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it just keeps going. Like, people in my house who aren't hockey fans are, we're not watching. They're like, "Can you turn this down?" Like every time it comes on with the add in progress. Anyway, those are small things. Not really like first world problems.
If these are the complaints we're having, it's doing all right, right? But I find it slightly annoying when like Nesson has on AAA baseball when this game's going on. I'm like, what are we doing? Or like the NHL network is showing something like, hey, NHL, you should support this. You're desperate for programming. Put this on, right?
Yeah, I wonder.
And the other thing that pissed me off a little bit was like TNT is doing the broadcast where they're all playing grab ass and doing all their nonsense. ESPN's that you're telling me that in between talking about what the guys are wearing coming into the rink, like PK Subban, it's like his whole job is to rate everybody's suit. You couldn't take a second and go, "Hey, just to update you," and maybe they're not allowed to, right? Maybe it's a broadcast thing, and if it's true, then I apologize. But come on, just be like, "Hey, the Minnesota Frost just won the PWHL. Stick taps to them." You know what I mean?
Show a clip. I mean, again, the clip thing might be proprietary, but
they could at least say it.
Yeah. We just want it all. We want it all now.
Can't be satisfied. Kendall Coyne Schofield had some type of comment. I wish I had it, but it was something along the lines of, "We can't be satisfied, and this is what we want, but we can't stop here." And I don't know her, and I know you do. She just strikes me as such a like intense, like, let's go, let's not.
She's intense, like in the best ways. I mean,
I did it. I meant that complimentary. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it, right? Like if you set the bar here and you meet it and you don't raise it again,
Right. Then
well
what are
then
you doing?
you're in mediocrity.
Exactly.
So you have to keep raising the bar.
Yeah.
I wish my 8 and my 5-year-old would understand this concept when I explain it to them, but they seem to. I lose them when I talk about those things. So that's where I
Well,
miss. That's where I miss coaching.
you can practice on me for the 8-year-old.
Okay.
It's a good warm up, but it's true. Like one of the things when I talked to Danielle was between because I was at the very first game the Fleet had, and I was also at the very last game of the season last year.
Mhm.
I mean, I was at some others in between, but those two. And the difference between the first game where everybody was just clapping to be there
Mhm.
and the last game where there were people yelling shoot, and I'm like, oh, they're treating it like hockey. And that's the goal, right? You don't want it to be like, yay, we're happy to be here. We want it to be like, yeah, we're happy to be here, but we're here because of the game.
Well, in the programming that was around the TV did pick that up because I mean there was the woman in Ottawa that would put the glasses up every time she thought that the ref made a bad
Yep.
call, like put your glasses on, and they picked that up every time, and the announcers were like, "Oh my God, we love her." And they have done so much fan interaction with they bring in the podcasts and they talk to the fans
Yep.
and in Minnesota there were so many characters. There were so many people that were like not just dressed up in purple but had outfits on and people were just so animated and into it and they did a good job of highlighting that and just interacting with the fans by giving them attention basically.
Yeah. I like that, except for the fans, and there's some in every rink that know where the camera is. They play to the camera. Their whole goal is to be on TV. Those people just you annoy me to no end. But whatever. That's my own little thing. Uh hey, so the last thing I have is not hockey related, but this is my plus. So there's a sport in Ireland called camogie. Okay. It's kind of like hurling with an H, not a C.
Yeah. We
uh
got very confused about this earlier. I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
"Oh,
like
it's
a
on
hard
ice in
stick,
Ireland?"
like lacrosse without a pouch.
Yeah.
It's physical game. And this woman, Aisling Thompson, who is the star of Cork, who's the reigning All Ireland champ, came out and said that their team is refusing to wear skirts, even if it means they will forfeit the game and hand the Munster title to Waterford. They had the championship
Hmm.
game. Last weekend, Dublin and Kilkenny were forced to switch back to skirts because they walked out in shorts mid game, which Thompson and her teammates decided they were done with this. Um, the In a survey with the league, 650 players, 85% believe they should have the choice between skirts and shorts. 70% experience discomfort while playing in skirts in terms of how they feel about themselves.
Mhm.
65% concerned about exposure in the media affecting their mental state. 49 experienced anxiety about potential period leaks. So they said they were coming out for the final, and they weren't going to wear this. And they said, we don't care if we end up forfeiting. We're taking a stand. Numerous matches this season have been delayed and teams penalized for refusing to wear the skirts or coming out to play in shorts at the start of the game. And Thompson said it's not about us versus the association. It's standing up for what's right.
Yeah.
So I had this in the pot in the notes, and I was like, "Oh my god, stuff like this! I love stuff like this,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like the man's not going to put me down, kind of thing, standing
Yeah.
up for what's right." So the Muster Camogie Council canceled the final as both teams stood together and refused to wear shorts. So I was like, "Oh my god, I can't!" It's like imagine the Frost and the Charge, and they were like, "No, we're not playing." Like
Mhm.
that's how big this was.
Yeah.
So the final was canceled, and thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. Special Congress of the Camogie Association was assembled, and the ability to wear shorts was passed with a 98% vote. And the final is going to be rescheduled, and they're going to play. So I love that when it all works out. I'm a little annoyed it wasn't 100%, I mean, what the fuck are you doing? Vote. You know what I mean?
Time for new leadership.
Yeah, right. For those 2%ers.
But it goes to show you that power of will, or that want control that leadership wanted to have, more than likely Y chromosome. When it comes to being willing, just cancel the final. We will win. It doesn't matter about your feelings. And the Spanish soccer team did the 2 years ago World Cup, I think. A bunch of the Spanish soccer team female refused to play because of their coach and because of how he treated them. And I think there might have been some pretty
He
strong
was super handsy, right?
I'm gonna mea culpa this. What?
He was super handsy, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
part of it.
And they were like, enough. And some players, I think more than half the players refused to play.
Yep.
The organization did bring in, I'm gonna mea culpa this, but what ended up happening was a couple of the older players that took this stand, they only took like 8 of the 12 back.
Oh.
When they fixed it, or when they and they were like, well, we gave up our career with this national team to stand up for this issue. So mea culpa. With my Czech clothing and my Spanish national team.
See,
soccer.
We're making content as we go, Linda. We're making content as we go.
I seriously just can't remember what I did 3 hours ago. So.
Well, shout out to this team, and shout out to Aisling Thompson. And Aisling, if you hear this and you want to come on the pod and talk about it, we'd love to have you. I think that'd be kind of cool. I love when this happens and it works out.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be a movie about this at some point, hopefully.
There will.
Yeah, maybe my friend Rhea can play one of the parts because she's got the right one.
There you go.
So that's all we have for you at this point. Nice little quick one. We will be back as we move forward with interview guests, the expansion draft, the regular draft. We'll talk about some of the names that have come in. I got some highlighted because I can't wait to get your reaction on a few.
Man, I mean, I feel like maybe I need to, I've looked at so many lists out there that I don't know. I feel tainted about the list, but it would be fun to like just try to figure out, like, make our own lists like we did. Congratulations, by the way, on PWHL winning our little. I mean, I went against you guys because you guys said the same thing and exactly what you both said happened. So I feel like it wasn't really fair. Like, I was just trying to make it spicy. But
it's fine, buddy. It's fine.
We'll have to figure that out.
Your punishment.
We could go over the summer camp schedule at some point with the kids, whatever we need to do.
Yeah. And hopefully Kelly will figure out technology and all three of us will be back together for the next episode. So that's it for this one. We'll see you at episode 12. Thanks for listening. And as always, Jade Aginla, have a great day tomorrow.
Bye for now.